Hello and welcome to a very special program. Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, the Indian Air Force pilot, is set to become the second Indian in space, launching on the 10th of June aboard Axiom Mission 4 to the International Space Station. He'll conduct experiments on superfood growth and skeletal muscle function during his 14-day mission, advancing India's space ambitions. Now, this historic flight, a NASA-ISRO collaboration, marks India's return to human spaceflight after 41 years, inspiring a billion dreams. Joining us now, the designated commander of the Axiom mission, among the most experienced astronauts anywhere. Dr. Peggy Annette is a former NASA astronaut and a director of human spaceflight at Axiom. She's here with us. Thanks very much. Just a few more points before we go across to the space legend, Dr. Peggy Whitson. She holds the record among American astronauts and among women for spending the most time in space, 675 days. She's the first woman commander of the International Space Station and the only woman to serve as International Space Station commander on 2 occasions. She is the first woman to command a private space mission, AX-2, the first woman and first non-military chief of NASA's astronaut office, and she holds the record for the most spacewalks by a woman, 10 in all. It's wonderful, ma'am, to have you on the program. Thank you very much for being with us. My first question to you, we've seen, and I must ask you this, we've seen just in the last 24 odd hours this big spat between Elon Musk and President Trump, and the question we here in India are asking is your mission on track? Will we see the mission blast off successfully?
Yes, our mission is on track. We're expecting a launch on June 10th, and we're looking forward to it very much.
What a wonderful feeling that she's all set.
Right, and just in terms of where the mission is, in terms of preparing for the mission, are you all set? Could you give us a sense for our viewers about, what's going into the final preparations at this stage?
Well, at this point, we are studying and fine-tuning all our skills, everything from familiarizing ourselves with the cameras that we'll be using on orbit to yesterday, Shooks and I, for instance, reviewed all the launch procedures and then the contingencies that we might do in case of anything that happens off nominally. And we reviewed the stowage. We have to unpack the Dragon as soon as we get there to get all our science hardware and experiments off and onto the space station where we'll conduct those experiments. So it's a very intricate choreography of that. So we practiced it many times, some in virtual reality and just some repetition just to make sure that we're all highly aware of everything that we're going to be doing, especially in the first few days, because we want to be very efficient as we get started in space.
Commander Peggy, thanks a lot for joining us. It's wonderful to be able to speak to you. And we've spoken earlier as well. You're a legend. So many days behind you in space. Do you still get butterflies in your stomach as we come close to a rocket launch? You sit on so much fuel on top of a rocket.
I always feel so much excitement on the day of launch. That doesn't mean I don't understand the risks. I think I accept the risk well in advance of the mission. And on the day of launch, for me, it is all about just being prepared for that moment and that time and enjoying it. And so it's quite the ride to get into space, to go from 0 to 18,500 miles an hour in just about less than 10 minutes.
Dr. Whitson, Shubhanshu Shukla is with you. He's a pilot on board this mission. Obviously, a huge amount of interest over here in India. It's been so many decades since we've had an Indian up in space. Could you tell us about, how it's been working with him, how you've trained together? Any thoughts about your pilot on this mission?
I am very proud of my pilot on this mission, and I think you guys should be too. He is an amazingly talented person, obviously, with his background in military aviation. He's come in and embraced understanding all the Dragon systems, and he's a systems expert on everything about the Dragon, everything from the comm systems to the guidance and navigation. He is extremely knowledgeable, and on top of that, he has been learning the experiments that he will be conducting on board the International Space Station, and I know he's going to be extremely competent just because of his natural style. But what's most fun about Shubhanshu, Shuks we call him, is that he has a fantastic sense of humor, and I really enjoy how he fits into the team. He helps and assists the other crew members as well, so he's obviously a natural leader. And it works out phenomenally well. I'm very comfortable with the idea of flying in space with Shuks.
Dr. Peggy, you're flying with 3 rookie astronauts. Have you trained them well? Have they listened to you? Have they been able to give you exactly what you want in this 14-day mission?
Yes, it's really actually a lot of fun to train new guys. I find it an honor to be able to share my stories, share my experience, and help them be successful in this mission. Each one of them has very different objectives, but the fun part of flying with 3 rookies is I get to experience that first time all over again with the crew.
What about the spaceship itself? It's highly automated, perhaps more automated than we've seen any sort of capsule in the past. Could you give us, an idea of what really happens in the days and hours ahead of you, sort of meeting with the space station?
So it is a very highly automated vehicle, which is great, and that happens for almost all of that what we call nominal operations. So the ascent and the rendezvous, etc. It's very highly automated. However, if anything goes wrong, we have to be prepared to react to it and perform different procedures and actually respond. So it does require a substantial amount of knowledge and practice to be good at those scenarios that are less than nominal, that are those off-nominal situations, we call them.
Dr. Peggy, Group Captain Shubhla is the pilot on the mission. So what is the role of a pilot? You're the commander, he's the pilot. And who carries joy?
The commander and pilot work together. So anytime we do commanding, it's done by both. Shuks will activate the command and then I will execute it. So it's all a very integrated process. So he and I are working very closely through the procedures as we conduct them on board. And so it's very integrated. Our little zero-G indicator is going to be over near Swagosh. And in seat 1, and we will show you once we get to space how well she floats.
Dr. Whitson, obviously there have been several procedures to deal with any sort of emergencies which you may encounter. That's obviously a critical part of your training. Could you give us a sense of how a large amount of the time that you've spent over the last several weeks, if not months, have been towards dealing with something unexpected?
Actually, we spend a considerable amount of time. We have to train on the NASA emergency procedures as well as the SpaceX emergency procedures. And, there's emergency procedures and then there's just off-nominal procedures. And we have to be prepared to do those in any situation that might come up in our flight. Obviously, we hope that we'll have a completely nominal mission where everything goes as perfectly planned, but we have to be ready in case it isn't nominal.
Dr. Peggy, when you go to the International Space Station, and you've been there many times, I'm told there is no running hot water, there is no spa there, How do you folks manage your daily life at the International Space Station? Is it tough? Is it easy?
It is a little bit of a camping trip, but we do have towels, wet towels that we can use every day to clean ourselves, and we have enough resources from food and water perspective that we can provide for ourselves, and so it isn't like going to some ultra rich hotel spa or whatever. It is very much a bit of a camping trip, but it's a lot of fun, and it's I think the most special part about the team that we are joining on board this International Space Station and the Axiom 4 team, is that being able to integrate with them and become one big team. So I'm looking forward to that.
But, with 7 crew members already on board the International Space Station and with the 4 of you on board, would the space station be rather crowded?
Well, I always try and remind people it's 15, I would call school bus size modules, various sizes connected together. That's the internal volume that we live and work in. So there are 4 full up laboratories. We have one area that is for the toilet and our exercise hardware and a lot of the life support systems hardware. And so the modules kind of each have their different functions. And so there's actually a lot more space than you think. But obviously, by increasing the crew size by 4, it will be a challenge for us to all integrate and work together. But we're looking forward to that challenge. And I know the crew on orbit is very excited to have us there. And we're going to try and be the best guests that we can be while we're there.
Dr. Peggy, we have only one Earth which is inhabitable, and you've been to the International Space Station for so many months and more than a year. And this is a question I ask all astronauts. Have you looked for extraterrestrial life when you look out of the cupola there, and have you found any?
Well, I haven't seen any with my own eyes, but what I have seen is just billions and billions of stars. And this is just our little galaxy, and there's billions and billions of galaxies. And I know there has to be other life out there because it is so expansive. And so I'm sure it exists, may not look like us, sound like us, but I'm sure there is life out there. And I think that's part of the fun of the idea of exploration, that continuing to learn, continuing to develop those technologies that will take us further and further so that we can find out about life out there and help ourselves here on the planet Earth by doing so.
Dr. Whitson, we've spoken a great deal about Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, but why don't you tell us a little bit about your other crew members? Because as I understand it, they're all getting into space for the first time as well. And it's obviously your job to ensure that the team gels. People from different parts of the world, tell us how it's all worked out.
It's really been a great experience. We have Tibor Kapu from Hungary and Sławomir Uznanski-Wisniewski. We call him Swab for short for obvious reasons. And then, of course, Shuks as well. So we have these 3 rookies, and I love building teams. That's one of my personal objectives and what excites me about continuing to go into space is being able to take a group of people with different objectives and pull them together into a team. And I really feel that I've done a good job, not just to pat myself on the back, but this crew is very cohesive. They bonded. There is a whole lot of laughter among the guys, and it just makes my heart sing.
Dr. Peggy, 2 questions quickly to you. One very simple one. How does India look like from space?
Oh, it's all of planet Earth is beautiful. India is special as well, and the surrounding waters. It's relatively easy to pick out India because of the geography. I'm looking forward to seeing it again, especially with Shuks.
Dr. Peggy, one quick more question to you. You're flying up from pad 39A, the legendary pad from which Neil Armstrong went to the moon. Who is your role model?
Actually, it's funny you asked. Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin were the first men that walked on the moon, and it was when I was 9 years old. And that was my inspiration for wanting to become an astronaut. So I think it's very fitting that we are flying from 39A. My first shuttle flight was also from 39A, so I'm very attached to the launch pad.
Dr. Whitson, associated with spaceflight is, the way it's changed. The entire business of spaceflight has changed. NASA was dominant. It still perhaps is, but then there's private spaceflight as well. And you've seen all of that. You've seen NASA in its, and you've seen private spaceflight. There's so much of a buzz on Elon Musk. There are others as well. How do you see this entire functioning of legacy organizations like NASA and private players? How do you see them working together?
Well, I think that's the great part of being in the space programs right now. There's so many opportunities in so many areas. Space is really changing. It isn't just government-led agencies. And I think the future includes international collaboration. As we've seen, it's worked very well on the International Space Station, but we've got to expand even beyond that to include new partnerships with commercial agencies, which is what we are seeing. And I think that is going to really expand exponentially how fast we continue to explore space. And I'm really looking forward to being a part of it. That's what drew me to Axiom Space, was the idea of actually using a space station for manufacturing actual products that could be beneficial on Earth. I know you might have heard about one of our experiments on board the space station, where I'm most looking forward to is testing a drug that fights breast cancer and see if we can stop the replication of the cancer cells. And I'm very excited to see the outcome of that research.
A quick message that I must ask you. There are so many people, young Indians over here where we are reporting from, where we are interviewing you from, who are looking at this interview, deeply enthused, for example, about the Indian Space Research Organization and our own program, but certainly about your mission as well. What is your message to young minds who may be watching this and wondering, is there a real future for me in space, whether it's research, studying, science, or perhaps being part of missions like what you're part of? What's your message to young minds watching this program?
Oh, I absolutely believe there's a future in space in India and around the world. I think it's really important for our young people to really strive, reach beyond what they think is even possible, because in 10 years or so, it's going to be dramatically different. So they really need to set their bar high and really strive to attain those goals, because there is going to be so many opportunities in space and technology development. And I really, really would encourage all of them to go out there and help us explore.
Dr. Peggy, in our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, we have a person who's very fond of space. Do you have a message for India's Prime Minister, who has actually set a goal till 2047 when India wants to land an Indian on the moon? And with Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, you are laying the first steps for India's Gaganyaan.
Well, I really do believe we are helping India's space program by having somebody like Shubhanshu get this experience. I think it will be something that he can tie in and build into the future. I think for the Prime Minister, it's important to really get the word out about this mission and the future of the Indian space program. I think it's important for him to encourage industry and technology as a result of this, to try and expand even more on the capabilities, because as I said before, I believe that the integration of commercial and government space is going to be where the future leads us.
Dr. Whitson, one of the most fascinating aspects about the Indian space program is the model that they use of frugality. For example, our Mangalyaan program, which was an orbiter of Mars, where we had to slingshot that orbiter, which ended up taking incredible images of Mars. That entire mission cost less than a Hollywood production. I mean, space is incredibly expensive if you really want to go to deep space. But is there something to be said about frugal models of engineering which work?
There's nothing wrong with being frugal about how you get into space. And I think that innovation, that collaboration between government and commercial entities can drive that kind of innovation and drive prices down. It is expensive, but if we don't keep pushing the commercial side to drive the prices down, it's going to stay expensive. So I look forward to expanding that technology beyond where it is now for industry and having everyone pursue those objectives and goals.
Dr. Whitson, we're talking about the International Space Station, but there is a lot of talk about a base on the moon, and then Elon Musk, for example, is incredibly excited about getting to Mars. So I'm going to ask you to crystal gaze. Give us a sense of what human space flight is going to look like, let's say, 10 years from now.
Well, I hope that in 10 years we have a commercial low Earth orbit entities, multiple entities for space stations, and those space stations will continue to develop technologies that will be used in further deep space exploration. I hope that in 10 years we also have a lunar base where we're testing facilities and capabilities, potentially with regolith and other things, trying to develop plans and detailed ways that we can effectively colonize Mars as well. So I'm really excited about the future, and I hope all the young people in India are as well.
Dr. Peggy, this time you're using a reused Falcon 9 rocket and a spanking new Dragon.
Yes.
Does that worry you that there is a spanking new Dragon which has never been used? And maybe you can give us the name which you are likely to name the new Dragon capsule.
Well, the Dragons, this is the fourth capsule, and they have a lot of experience at SpaceX at developing these capsules. They fine-tuned them along the way, and so I have no issues, no concerns with going up in a new vehicle. I'm going to keep the name secret. I told you I was going to tell you once we get to orbit, so you'll have to wait and listen in for the name. And, the Falcon 9s have been reused many, many times successfully. And so I have no concerns at all.
Well, it is an exciting mission, and, it's just so inspiring to speak to you as someone who has done so much in helping us learn about space, and we hope this mission works out well. We're absolutely certain it will. Good luck, and thank you so much for speaking to NDTV.
Thanks a lot.
Oh, thank you so much for the chance to talk about Shubhanshu and the Axiom 4 mission, plus your future explorers that you're inspiring right now.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.